Right out of FIT, I got a job and I designed for a lot of other brands. So I
Hmm.
designed for Jessica Simpson, Nicole Miller, Buck, like all these different
Wow.
brands.
Hmm.
So it's cool to have that experience, right?
Yeah.
And I needed that because like my soul needed that experience. And it was time for me to have my own business, right? I learned my lessons in the industry and I
Yeah.
was ready to like birth something. And so like, I feel like what the universe does, it's like, okay, we heard you. We're going to just throw that at you. Hello.
Hello. Good to see you.
So good to see you from Germany. Like, what?
Yes. Yeah, from Germany. You're from New Jersey, right?
I am. I'm from New Jersey. I've always
So
wanted to
cool.
go to Germany, and I feel like it will now from your soul's energy. I'm just meant to go.
Oh, how cool. Yes, do that. And if you decide to go, then let me know.
I will, of course. Yes.
Cool. I wanted to meet you for quite some time already
I
because I thought,
know.
yeah, you make such nice content and I thought you're such a nice person. And yeah, it would be a really, really nice time that we have today. Normally, I just introduce the podcast, I introduce what Insanity is about. Then would be awesome if you could introduce yourself to the listeners and then we just let the conversation flow like super easy. I'm sure it will turn out great.
Oh, amazing. All right. I'm totally ready for it.
I thought there are so many topics out there that people are not really comfortable to talk about, although they are probably important for us, like probably things that are beyond our self concept, questioning ourselves a little bit, questioning our habits or our beliefs or what we are used to, in order to find the things that are really aligned with us and that can make us happy, so to speak, because they align more with us and we can be more of ourselves. And I thought, let's do that within a podcast and create a safe space. I even called it Insanity. So let's be the crazy people. So if from the beginning we say that we are crazy, then who will say something against it? I mean, you cannot add anything to that. Apart from that, it has a double meaning. So it's like insanity or insanity. So you can look at it from two
Oh, do I?
perspectives. Because actually, maybe questioning things is super insane and maybe doesn't lead anywhere, but maybe it's the opposite. And maybe when we look at people who are fundamentally unhappy because they are just living without questioning anything, then maybe doing the opposite is actually sane. And I really love your content. Like I saw one video and I remember then I started following you. You were introducing one of your handbags. So you are a handbag designer and you have a really, really interesting design actually. And I love fashion. So I'm a little fashion girl too. And beautiful. Yes,
Yeah,
it's
that's the
very,
one.
very unique. I really
Thank
like
you.
this the part with the hand. It reminded me a little bit of Alexander McQueen of the style with the rings, where you put your hand in. And I thought, okay, that's kind of special. And then I've heard you talking, and I think you were introducing yourself saying, I'm not Crystal Kodada. And I thought, that's interesting. And I liked your explanation so much. And I thought, that's so cool because you're actually showing your product, but you're not selling your product. And you're presenting an idea that I feel very drawn to. And yeah, and that's the moment when I would like to hand over the microphone to you. So maybe, yeah, you can introduce yourself.
Anastasia, thank you so much. Like my soul is just like shining right now. Thank you so much for
Oh,
mirroring all of that back to me. And you're such a gift to this planet. Really, you're such a gift. And I think it
thank
was totally meant
you.
for our souls to meet too. I love what
Yeah,
you stand for. And I love
thank
that you
you.
see me. I love how you see me. And I love it. The insanity. Yeah, play the whole play on words with like the
Yeah,
duality of that. This idea of like being crazy
yeah,
because almost like to have the big giant leaps, the quantum leaps, the really big shifts in our reality. And when we question everything, it totally does bring us into sort of this state of like, oh my God, like, am I losing my mind? Am I
yes,
insane? And also just embracing that and loving that, right? Because that I feel like is the path to our true authentic selves, like our soul selves. Like that's what we came here to like come back to,
hmm,
right? And
yeah,
so because we have all these layers that are put upon us when we incarnate, during childhood and all of that, and just like throughout our journeys and all that. And so that's kind of like bringing it back to the spiritual journey of like really connecting to our true selves and understanding that it's not even all of the names and the labels that we've sort of over time
yeah.
like have collected. And so, yeah, so I love that you see that, like, and I love that I had that shift, but I had a shift. It took a shift to
Hmm.
happen. Like, so I would say like my kind of like my really fresh news story really started like 2020 when I had a spiritual awakening. So I feel like
Oh.
that's
Hmm.
where it
Hmm.
happens.
Hmm.
Um, and that was when I questioned everything. And that's when I
Yeah.
think like things started to just sort of the illusion started to break down. It was like the just yeah, the veil started to thin.
Hmm.
And it was beautiful because that's what I wanted. And I made really big shifts and changes to expedite that and for that to happen. And it was really like wild. And I wouldn't even say it's a dark. So I heard this on, I don't know, I think it was Gaia or something. And it was
Hmm.
like um there is no such thing really as a dark night of the soul. There's actually just a dark night of the ego, which is really interesting. So it's just like a
Oh,
more
yeah.
like
Yeah,
right
yeah,
because
yeah.
the soul
It
because actually the soul can't like the soul
it
is
changed
so
a lot.
far
Yes.
right.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so but before that, prior to that, like, it was interesting. I went to fashion school. I was
Hmm.
very driven. So I've been doing my business for 10 years. So this is just like this soul passion project that has been like kind of catapulting my spiritual awakening from the very like just the whole journey, right? Because
Hmm.
it's like my soul's mission and passion. Like my one of my gifts is divine power and divine manifestation. So I'm really been tapping into that. And divine like power is more like creations, like it's birthing in creation into this realm and in really inspiring and empowering people through these creations. And so I
Yeah.
was yeah. So my both my parents actually went to FIT for fashion. My mom was a fashion designer, and my dad was in production. So I feel like my soul chose my parents, which I think is kind of cool. I believe. I mean, it's all subjective, right? So we
Hmm.
can
Hmm.
question everything, but it is cool to kind of have that idea and perspective that we choose our parents, which is kind of cool.
It's
And
very
like
interesting. Yes.
yeah, and so I chose my parents for like I think one of those specific reasons
Hmm.
of learning about like really the fashion industry from
Hmm.
like the 3D level of it, right? Which is like, oh, it's very like cutthroat and it's very ego
This,
driven.
yeah. Yeah, the fashion world itself, I would agree on that. Like, of course, you're just dealing with things that you just see with your physical eyes. So, of course, it
Right.
tends to become superficial. I
Yeah.
also still love it, to be honest, because I
I
also think it's a play, right? And I mean, if we are also
right.
physical in a sense. So, I mean, we are everything. And why not making beautiful stuff if we have a talent and if we have the drive? And you obviously have this huge talent because your things are unique and they catch my attention, I think, even before I've heard you speaking. So I just saw this handbag and I thought, oh, that's cool.
Thank you. Right. I love it. I love that we can birth our expression into different forms. So it's like we can birth like like a product like this, right? I
Yeah,
feel like my it was just like an expression of my soul that wanted to come out.
yes,
and
for
and it's cool.
sure.
It has like a design patent on it, and um it's very just like a glove for your hand, and it's but it's also
Love it.
jewelry, and then you can put like your ID or credit card so you could go out
Super
dancing and just
cool.
like it's right.
Yes.
So it was a very cool like birthing expression, and and I loved it, right? Like because I right out of FIT, I got a job and I designed for a lot of other brands. So I
Hmm.
designed for Jessica Simpson, Nicole Miller, Buck, like all these different
Wow.
brands.
Hmm.
So it's cool to have that experience, right?
Yeah.
And I needed that because like my soul needed that experience. And then it was really interesting. Like the universe was like, okay, because like what happens is when you're calling in something from a
Hmm.
manifestation
Hmm.
point, right? Because like I was calling in, like it was time for me to have my own business, right? I learned my lessons in the industry, and I
Yeah.
was ready to like birth something. And so like I feel like what the universe does, it's like, okay, we heard you, we're gonna just throw that at you, right? And it's just like,
Yeah.
okay, um,
Okay. Yeah.
and like and sometimes it's like kind of feels like you're getting the rug pulled out under you, but
Hmm.
it's the most beautiful thing. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of what happened. Like I worked in the industry for a while, and then I started my like yeah, and then basically I was let go, which was amazing. It was like that was like the best thing ever. Like that was on path for me, and because like I wouldn't have been able to create the space to have a business and to
Hmm.
have all these profound experiences. So I started my own business, and it was such a thrill. It was so incredible. And it
Yeah.
was so much work, right? And it was interesting because I would definitely think that I was like in like this, I want to say with so much love. I feel like I
Yeah,
was in this like wounded masculine aspect. This was before my spiritual awakening. And I was
interesting.
very like go-getter, but very hard on myself. And I had
Mm-hmm.
all these blocks and all of this stuff and all of this expectations. And I'm like, I need to do this. I need to make this amount. I need to be on like all the magazines and have all the celebrities carry my bags. And I need
Wow.
to be seen. And there's like all of the shadowy things, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's just like kind of programming that we've had, right? And I felt like I was spinning my wheels, right? And I was just so obsessed with the business. And I had, and at that point, I really thought that my identity was the business, right? I really thought that that's like, oh, I'm the designer. I am the
Yeah.
designer. Okay. Like it's just interesting because like,
Wow.
and I say this with so much love to designers out there. I
Mm,
do. And I feel like, I think we're raising, like, let's raise the consciousness of the fashion industry to begin with and
yeah,
understand, right, that we can still create beautiful products, but still be uplifting people all around us. Like
I
even just like
love
in
it.
how in like the fashion industry and the businesses, we don't need to have that toxicity anymore. Like we can just like go beyond and like empower, right? So yes, like I'm like, okay, circling back. Okay, so it's like, yeah. And I kind of want to definitely touch upon like masculine, divine feminine, because those are things I'm playing with and it's been incredible.
That's
But it was a realization that I was really, really hard on myself. So when I just want to clarify, when I say like wounded masculine, right, that's just sort of like this like frustrated energy within myself. Very hard on myself, like very like spinning your wheels, like I'm not tapping into my feminine. So my feminine is really like a very prominent energy in me, but I was closed off for it for like such a
yeah.
long time in my life because I was so like,
Wow.
I need to be successful, but my soul was like, wait, but are you listening? Are you hearing? Like, and so it's been a journey of, inner reflection and understanding. And so basically, yeah, I had to shift certain behaviors. And so 2020, like I decided to really tap more into my feminine and release and let go and just trust. If you're familiar with tarot cards, right?
Yeah, yeah. Mm,
It's kind of like it's like a tower. So you're just like you're releasing, you're surrendering and you're just
mm-hmm.
letting everything crumble so that something beautiful and new can take place. And so basically that's what happened. And so I had, yeah, like I said, a dark night of an ego. So it was like
Yeah.
questioning everything, my reality, who I am, this reality, these dimensions. Like it was just like it was so incredible. It was a
Yeah,
mind blow. It was
yeah, yeah,
insane.
yeah. I love your story. Actually, I wrote down already a bunch of
Amazing.
questions. Yeah,
Amazing.
we can fill 5 episodes with that, I think. My first one is, what was the realization like? Or let's say, how did your awakening feel like, and what was it caused by?
Yeah. So my awakening felt very, very dark, very intense. When we are really awakening to our true selves, we have to be able to do like the shadow work, the inner child work, all that kind of stuff. So it was a very dark time, and I did a lot of crying, so much
Yeah.
crying. And I would also say, so this is quite interesting.
Hmm.
So I think also too, it was a catapult for it. So I was actually on numerous medications,
Okay.
mental medications, like and definitely like the biggest one for me was like Adderall, right? So I really
Mm-hmm.
heavily identified with that. I heavily identified with it and was just like, this is my identity. I need this to survive. I mean,
Wow.
it was pretty wild. Like I was on it for like since I was 18, like for 15 years, something like crazy like that, right? And I made this in order to make space for the new. I got off of everything. And this is a disclosure, like I'm saying, like, this is just
I
my
love that.
story.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just my story. And it was something that I felt like I was very supported by the universe with.
Would you be comfortable to
Sure.
dive a bit deeper into this Adderall thing?
Sure.
What did it do to your personality? What's your
Yeah.
feeling?
Yeah, it really made me, it disconnected me from my intuition, which is really interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and disconnected me from my actual body and like all my chakras and like all of and also just my overall consciousness, right? Because our consciousness is so vast and so expansive, right? Because we're expansive beings, like we are like the universe, right? Embodied. And so when you take a substance like Adderall, it just completely cuts you off from that. And because you're just so hyper focused on like the
Mm.
3D, and It's definitely like a very chemical thing in the brain, because it's releasing dopamine. That's now we're going more into like neuroscience, and I mean
Interesting. Yeah, I would love that. Yeah.
I could geek out to that as well, because
Yes.
because I had to shift, right? Be like coming off of it, right? Like then you really have to have all the tools and understandings, right? Because
Hmm.
your body was like so reliant on this substance, right? Of
Hmm.
dopamine. Our brains can make natural dopamine, right? Like we all have that capability. But if
Yes.
you're so like dependent on this one particular substance, so it's just like it made me just disconnect. I couldn't hear like any of my I couldn't feel my emotions. I kind of just buried them down, and I was just like I was just charging, but I didn't really I just felt empty, but I thought that I was so filled. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I'm on top of the world. I could do anything. But I was so disconnected from myself.
Hmm.
So like in the illusion, it was like it
Yeah,
wasn't
I get it.
true. And so when you come off of something like that, it just like because then now you have no choice but to see everything of yourself, and you have to realize, oh my God, I am divine power. Like I don't need this substance to be powerful, right? Because I really
Wow.
believed that
Hmm.
that substance was the power. Like, oh my God, this is my source of my power. But it's not. We all have that divine power within. And it was like such a journey just to even connect to that. And it took a lot of time, and a lot of just like going back and forth and doubting myself and questioning myself.
Hmm.
There were times like during this whole thing, I would just lay on the floor and just stare at the ceiling and talk to my guides, right?
I would still do
Yeah,
that.
I still do that too. That's right. That's a
Yeah.
necessity. We need to do that.
Yeah, we need to do that for sure.
But I
Creative
guess
people, I'm not sure who said that, but there was someone who said creative people need the time to sit around and do nothing.
it's
And
so
that's so
true.
true.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's so true, because like the default mode network needs to just come
Yeah.
off online and rewire itself, right?
Yes.
That's because we're like which is so cool, right? When it's constantly going, right? But so we're so powerful, yeah,
Yeah.
that if we disconnect, right? That is when we're tapping into the divine, we're tapping into our intuition, we're tapping into all of like our
Yeah.
crown chakra. So it's like clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, like all the
Yeah. Yeah.
clairs like
Yeah.
come in. And you're just like,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, from kind of like the ego standpoint, it's so like it feels like you're dying. Like when you're
Mm,
not used to that, you feel like, and for me, it felt like I was just this giant, massive failure that was just this really lazy person. Like, look at you, you're
mhm.
so lazy. Like you're not like, you have all these to-do list things to do, like you have all this stuff, and you're just sitting on the floor because because like I literally had to acclimate my nervous system because it
Yeah.
was so unregulated for many years of being on. So it was like Adderall, I was on Lamictal, I was on some kind of like all these stuff,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
All of this stuff. And the whole point
Wow.
too
Mm.
was realizing I disconnected from the identity that I had any of those things. So that was pretty wild. Like I was like, I
Yeah.
don't have depression. I don't have bipolar. I don't have ADD. I'm like, these were things that were
Yeah.
pushed on me,
Yes.
right? From society, from my
Yes.
programming, from childhood, like, right? These were all the like, and it's interesting because I'm sure like I had to learn these lessons. This is what I signed up for. So I
Yes.
took responsibility, right? And I embraced the
Yes.
journey. I embraced like I wouldn't be here, right?
Hmm.
Like I wouldn't be having this beautiful expansion without those awarenesses. And I feel like we have to, so again, we have to really sit in our darknesses, to and just love our shadows, love everything about ourselves, and
Mm.
understand, yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yes.
the deepest self-love, right? So, and that
Yeah.
was when I also started self-love. I am now on a very vast, in-depth self-love journey right now, and that's a whole
Hmm.
nother topic I would love to share with you. But like
Yeah.
during that time is when I just even started to even say I love myself. Like, right, I literally had to love myself, or else there was like, I'm like, there's no other option. Either I want to die
Hmm.
and I'm good, like either I keep on like, yeah, like believing, right, the lies, or I step into the truth, right, and love myself.
That's so powerful because actually what we want to die in these moments, what I just realized is what we want to die is the identity. It's the
Mhm.
persona that we created. We
Yeah,
actually don't want to die entirely. It doesn't make
yeah,
sense since we we cannot really die. I mean,
No.
what is death itself, right? But what we want to bring to an end is this persona that we created, but no one says that you have to stick to that. And
Yeah.
I think your story is so powerful, or what you have done is extremely powerful, like your whole development and your realization and your bravery. I would say it's really, really brave to do that
Oh,
and to
I
look
want to cry.
beyond all this programming or beyond all these layers, and to be brave enough to be still and to sit there for a while and to just observe yourself and to give yourself the time and space, no matter what it looks like, how many to-dos you have. You are your most important to do. And I think it takes so much bravery really to do that. And also to realize that the substances, that all these things, they don't really carry the power, that you are the power itself. And to believe in it so much that you can actually drop all the other stuff and to really go your way. And I love that. And I appreciate that a lot. And I want to thank you for that, because I love this authenticity and how much it contributes to the journeys of other people, or even to mine already, because I see you as an inspiration just hearing about it. Thank you.
Well, you're an inspiration for having this platform, right? Because like that's what we're, you know, you're shifting the consciousness, you know, with these kind of conversations. So I just want to see you, and I want to greatly appreciate you, and I receive what you said to me, and I really deeply from the bottom of my heart appreciate it, because um
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. And do you know what? And again, I've been doing so much inner work. And I swear I would say even like a couple days ago or maybe a week ago, if someone said I was their hero or I was courageous, I wouldn't be able to receive it. I
Mm,
would have just not, but now I'm just opening my heart and I'm really
good.
seeing, and I'm seeing
Yeah.
myself in a different way, right? When we see
Mm,
ourselves in a different way and we start to fall in love with ourselves, like, and from a soul perspective, right? Because then I think then
yeah.
too, there's like this bad rap. I feel like when you're like, I'm in love with myself, right?
Yes, that's
It's like,
beautiful.
right?
Yes.
There's a shadow. Well, at least for me, right? There's a little bit of a
Mm.
shadow that comes in of like narcissism. Like, oh, well, you're just like a narcissist, like for that, right? But it's not true. Like, it's
It's
not true.
it's the opposite actually, because
Yeah.
if you look at the psychological review of what a narcissist is, it's actually a wounded person, and a person
Mhm.
who is disconnected or feels, let's say, feels disconnected to their true self and is so insecure that the egotistical perspective becomes so huge, and then they need to prove themselves how great they are without,
Right.
because they don't know that they are. So if we know that we are great, we don't need to prove it to ourselves.
Right.
And narcissism comes up when we are so insecure that we kind of need to tell ourselves a story 24/7.
Yep.
And but knowing and loving ourselves deeply without needing to prove it through manipulation of other people, through, I don't know, expensive stuff or money
Yeah.
or whatever, without needing it. You can have things, but you don't need them. And this is a place of freedom and not of narcissism.
So much freedom in that, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so much freedom that we can just play, right? And in the abundance, in the beauty. Your necklace, I've been like
yeah,
that necklace, how it
yeah.
glistens, how beautiful it is, like
Thank
just
you.
how it just like covers your neck, like how beautiful, like it's a statement piece, right? And so
Yes,
it's again like just coming back to like these beautiful luxury pieces. It's not about like, yeah, they're just these beautiful expressions,
yeah.
but what's the true freedom, like what you said, it's never about the thing, it's never about the
Right. Oh,
thing.
actually, I would even like to take it off now that I said it, because I also think I love this piece, but I think it's more of a statement to not wearing it right now.
I love it. I love it. You're flowing, you're following, like you're like, okay, I had this on and now I'm taking it off and it's amazing.
Yes,
I love that.
yes,
I love
because
that.
you don't need that. I also once had this realization that, I mean, we are already everything, and we are so, like, really everything. We are extremely abundant, or we are abundance itself, and everything that we try to add to this abundance shows more limitation. And this made
Mhm.
me laugh. I was really laughing about this kind of nonsense, that I thought, okay, I'm trying to put more things on myself,
Right.
more and more, and I'm like, actually, it kind of distances me more and more
Mhm.
from all the abundance that I am. And I mean, you can still do that, and you can still dress up, and you can do all that cool stuff
Right.
for fun. It's kind of a play. But if I have the feeling that I must add all this stuff,
Right.
then convince myself that it's not enough. And the most abundant thing, you get born like that. You have nothing on you. And
Right.
yeah,
Right. We come here with nothing, no name
yes,
either.
yes.
We're
And
just
you're
like
so
these,
free.
yeah, so free, pure, just pure like light and consciousness, like just pure, like we're source, right? We all are.
Yes,
And so, and
yes,
then, yes, and then all these things are added, right? All of this stuff, all these necklaces and all of these like things are added, and you're like, oh, this is me, but it's not, right? And
yes,
so, right. And then when you're able to have that experience, it's almost like you can just like look at all like the world in such awe, right? Knowing that you're everything, you're the universe, you're the creator of your reality, you're the
hmm
creator of this universe. We all are, right? And we're all the same, we're all from the same, right? We're all pieces of the same puzzle,
yeah,
right? But
yeah,
we're all
yes,
just having different perspectives and, because we
yeah,
can, right? And it's just like, because this physical plane is just actually really a game, and it's a really fun game once we bust
yes,
out of it. And I
yes,
think that's when we start to, I feel like I'm starting, I think currently, I feel like I'm busting out. Like, I feel like I'm just busting out of this matrixy thing and really stepping more into like what's real, and like what you said again of just like the truth of who we are, like that we are abundance, like we really are, like
yeah,
we are, and just like feeling that, and also just feeling into
yeah,
our heart chakras,
hmm
and like just like that love. And then
yeah,
even kind of talking about, I've been playing around with, because I feel like, okay, so in terms of like abundance standpoint, from like money, like aspect. So it's interesting because that's definitely one thing that I'm always like, I really want in my business, obviously, right? Like I
hmm
want this, like I want multi-million dollars. I still feel that. I still feel it in my body and that it's possible, right? And so I'm like,
yeah,
so I love this journey of feeling into that abundance, because you need to feel the energy first in your body. And then I love to use like different kind of modalities to help support
hmm
that. So that would be like a good example would be like a crystal. So during
mm.
meditation, so I have, I love
Hey.
to like show and tell. This is pyrite, right? And so just like really working with pyrite, and just like bringing that in. And then also like a rose quartz is really great too, because it's like the frequency of money is love. It's love. It's just pure
Isn't
love.
it
It's the
funny? Yes,
energy. I
yes,
know, right? That
yeah,
we've been like, oh, well, we've been programmed to believe other things that are not true. Like money is
yes,
not evil. It's just a neutral energy that wants to co-create with us and come into our lives in a beautiful, loving way, right? And there's only a universe of more. There's never less, actually.
it's expanding. Yes, so
Right? Like you
yeah,
could create more of less.
yes,
But
yes,
like,
exactly.
right? And that's, I think,
Yeah,
what happens. Maybe that's what people get like stuck when they're in like a lack mentality, because they're just focusing on the lack, right? And that's a whole mindset shift. And oh my
yeah,
goodness, and that's been a journey for me too, right? But I feel
hmm
like I'm busting out in the sense of like realizing like, oh my gosh, no, this is not true. Like we are so powerful. And it's like, and I love the idea of kind of just like going out and sharing this experience with everyone, with
yes,
right, with you, with like you, just everyone.
I love
And
it too. Yeah,
right, because like then you're just so, you're so authentic, you're so real, like you're, what I
hmm
mean, you're not creating this like the content is just streaming through you because you just want to share this life experience that you're meant to share with everyone, and then
yeah,
also have that information impact them, right? And that's what I'm always so fascinated about podcasting. And I'm just so
yeah.
grateful that this is my very first podcast. Like this is
Yay!
huge for me. And I'm so honored to be here. And this is
Yeah,
huge. And I feel like I'm finding my voice, and I'm like,
great.
this is like a dream, right? Like, and this is a
Yeah.
perfect example of like what like manifestation can really feel like. And, like you start to feel it in your body when you do like a meditation practice. Do you
hmm
do meditation?
Yes, but I do it all the time, well, not
Yeah.
24/7 again, but in between, and it's more like a grounding. It's not that
Yes.
I necessarily do a long meditation every
Yeah.
day, but I just come back to myself. It's like a
Mhm.
rebalancing, and it's establishing my sense of self in
Love
between.
it.
And if I need it, or most of the time, let's say, when before I wake up. So I do it naturally in the waking up process, that I try to set my focus and my thoughts on the things that are
Mm.
joyful.
Oh, I love that. I love that you do that in the beginning when you wake up, because it's like
Yeah.
you're already priming your consciousness, your
Yes.
mind and everything, and it kind of just sets the intention for the day. So
Yeah.
that is just so beautiful.
I have a meditation technique, more or less. It's something that I like to implement as often as I can. It's a gratefulness thing. I'm grateful for one person in my life, and I find three things about them. It's just an example. You can
I love
change it.
that.
I'm grateful for life itself, and I find three examples for that. And then I find three examples I'm grateful for about myself. And this is something that yeah, that's like on a regular basis. And I don't think that you need that necessarily, or that you need to have such a meditation every day. Just for me, I like frameworks and structure and strategies. I like to work with that. My brain loves stuff like that. So
Yeah.
therefore, I create frameworks for myself that just
Oh.
work, and where I'm not getting confused or chaotic during the day. So I have my things in order, and I can work with them, because I know, okay, every day this sounds like a good thing until I find another thing that I like more. So it's not a law, but it helps.
I love that. I love that. I love that the whole gratitude, right? I
Yeah.
feel like I like to work in addition to gratitude. I love the energy of appreciation.
Yes.
Yeah. And I feel like they kind of work hand in hand.
Hmm.
And appreciation again is, I guess it's like the same, it's similar to gratitude, but there's like there's this even other aspect of appreciation. It's just like, or even for example, like water is a good one too. Like
Hmm.
I bless the water. I'm like, I appreciate and I love you, water, so much. And it's just like,
Really, that's beautiful.
I know. Have you ever heard of that? Like there's like science behind it,
Hmm.
about like blessing the water and how it like changes the frequency and the energy when you're drinking it. So it's like cool to have those practices, and they're so beautiful. The grounding practices of gratitude. It's just beautiful. And it's so beautiful that you're able to like
Yeah.
really use that as a practice every single day. And it's actually inspiring me because I'm like, yes, I love the reminder of like really setting like your mind there of gratitude, right? Like, and
On
that definitely
purpose.
shifts, and that shifts your energy. Like, so especially like if you're in a place of sadness or overwhelm, right? I feel like if you get into the heart space of gratitude and appreciation, it's like it just shifts, like it just shifts everything, right? And then
Yes.
you're like in that vibration more and more. And then it's like, because wherever our attention goes, our energy flows. I love that. I love that saying. I think Jim Forden said
Yeah.
that. It was like another podcast. I listen to a lot of podcasts, which is really
Yeah.
exciting. I get
Cool.
really inspired. And I love the idea of like listening to all these beautiful podcasts like yours, and like, and having these dreams of like, oh, maybe one day I'll have one. And I know that I will.
You
Actually, I have an
should.
idea. I have an
Yes.
idea, and I have a partner who I feel like would be a really great
Hmm.
a team duo. She's
Perfect.
yeah, and she's a Reiki master, and she's also a psychologist. So it's really cool. And I feel like it's a cool merge of our businesses, for sure. And having
Hmm.
like this like podcast, I don't know, we played around with the idea of like the name like Soulfully Aligned, which I like is pretty cool.
Yes.
And so and then being able to have these type of conversations. And then it's cool for her to have like this lens from like a psychological lens, and like,
Definitely.
you
Yes.
know, she plays with like Akashic records too, which is like
Hmm.
incredible, and that's life changing. I mean, there's just so much conversation. There's so much, and I'm to be like birthed into this world. And I just think that I feel like when you're on path, the universe just opens up for you. And I feel like this opportunity is just like it's just birthed this whole new realm of possibility, and really emerging again my whole mission too of just merging my gifts, right, which I said like was divine power and manifestation, which is really cool because those are the two gifts that I found out in my Akashic records. So like
Really.
that's a really cool, these are
Hmm.
cool tools to have to navigate through our lives,
Hmm.
with these tools, because then we have these understandings of like it takes us closer to our authentic selves. It takes us closer into our souls, like because that's where we just want to be whole, worthy, and complete. Like that's always just the mission, I feel like, to be in
Yeah.
our authentic core selves. And so the universe, when you're so aligned with it, the universe just you surrender, and it all just unfolds. And then you realize, you look back at your past and you realize, oh my God, you kind of weep at the beauty of like how it all unfolded.
Mm.
And you're like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? Like, that's why
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
happened. That's why I met this person. And that's why I
Hmm.
had that experience that I thought was awful, but actually was like it was meant for that,
It
because
was
like
a
it opened
gift
up space
always.
for this.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
Yes.
So, so it's, so it's really cool to be able to have these modalities. So what I like the idea too, my mission too, is like to really merge almost like these beautiful, there's so many modalities that can help for healing, right? I'm a Reiki master as well. So it's really cool.
You need to talk
I
about
really,
that too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of incorporating Reiki energy into actual like 3D products. So this in particular bag is Reiki. It has like Reiki.
Okay, tell me about it. Tell me about it because I know Reiki just a tiny bit,
Yes.
or
Oh,
I understand a bit about energy healing because I had someone in my family who did that,
mm,
and I as a kid before I even knew what it was, or maybe it wasn't even Reiki, but it's just like energy healing itself without being taught how to use that. But
yeah.
because I had it in my family as a kid, I started randomly doing stuff like that, and then my mother forbid it. Like he was like, "You don't know what you're doing. Don't do that." And I stopped. Also because of fear, or because she would implement thoughts in my head, like this and that can happen. And today I understand that it can't, or it can if you're convinced that it does. But you're safe, right? So, but I didn't know that you can combine that with a product. So tell me how it works, and how does Reiki work for you, and how are you working, and how are you working with it in fashion?
Yes. I would love to. I love this. Okay, here we go. So what is Reiki? I'll start with that, right? So Reiki is divine energy healing. You can call it whatever you would like to call it, right? Source, God, creation, the universe, you know,
Hmm.
fill in the blank.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's so basically, so it just gets channeled through the Reiki practitioner, Reiki master's hands, right? So
Hmm.
that divine energy just gets channeled, right? And so then the Reiki touches, right, the energy chakra system of you, right? Like so, and merges with your energy's ability to heal itself. So it's really interesting. So
Yeah,
it's never the actual person doing Reiki.
yeah,
It's never their energy.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
just a channel, right? So I'm just a channel for this energy and it just goes where it needs to flow. I feel like I can't describe Reiki without explaining the chakras because I feel like they
Okay,
coincide
yes. Hmm.
together. So, and I love it. I have this little diagram here. So
Ah, nice. Yes.
so yeah. So this, okay, if you can see, right? So these are all the, we have seven chakras, right? Or by I mean, there's others, but these are like the main ones, right?
Hmm.
And so you have your root chakra, which is like your bottom half, right? Those are like your lower chakra. And that's to do with like grounding, like how grounded are you to this reality, right? Like you just want to, yeah, just want to be like calm and relaxed. Like that has to, well, I mean, that's the benefit, right, of having a grounded root chakra. And then you
Hmm.
have your sacral chakra. So that's like to do with like your sexual energy, and that's super powerful. We really want to work with that too, because like that's where our power center is, right? Like we're powerful beings. Like so
Hmm.
sacral chakra. Then your solar plexus, which is your stomach. So that's yellow. And
Hmm.
that's to do with your personal power. And then you have your heart chakra, which is green. And also, rose quartz is really great for heart chakra, and that's really great for self-love and also for really bringing in unconditional love. May that be, a partner or soulmate, what have you, right? Just interesting, right? Just for people,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for everyone out there too, that's, like, oh, love, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I've done a lot of Kundalini yoga.
so connecting to your heart is like, yes, and we want it, right? And so that's important. We want that. So we want all these chakras to be aligned. Then we go into your throat chakra, your communication. I'm sure your throat chakra is open, right? Because you are just like, you have a stage here. You are speaking your truth. You are speaking out loud, like what you want to create in this world and who and how you want to impact and connect, right? And
Yeah.
just make that big, huge shift and change in consciousness. And so we want obviously our throat chakras to be open, and
Hmm.
throat chakra also too has to do so it's your neck and your ears and like so just kind of all of this. And
Hmm.
so that also has to do with your ability for hearing messages, stuff like that. And then we go into your third eye. Obviously, so that's really to do with just like you get more up to the upper chakras. So third eye, is just very like opening, like, to your intuition. And again, a lot more of all the clairs. And then your crown chakra. That is where your top is where just like, whew, just getting all the downloads and all the stuff. So basically, the mission is, right, our goals. We want to make sure all of these chakras within our bodies are all aligned, all like spinning. So channel Reiki, like, in certain, like I could either hover over or like, also too, like I could go on your back, right, your lower back and work on your heart chakra. It's the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess like my style that I love is kind of doing more like like 15-minute, like cute little sessions, Reiki sessions. You hold a crystal too, depending on the chakra, and you set an intention. And I kind of just work through all of your chakra areas and just sort of just like, yeah, just kind of give a clean sweep. And so then again, it's important to understand that again, I'm not the actual one doing the healing. Like you're healing yourself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's always like a huge thing. And I love telling, I have a 2-year-old. I have a 2-year-old little baby girl. I love her. She's my soulmate. And I always tell her, like the biggest affirmations that I always tell her is like, you are healthy, you can heal yourself.
That's
So,
beautiful. Can you say
right?
it again?
You are healthy. You can heal yourself. You always have the ability to
Yeah.
always heal yourself. And I
Wow.
tell her this every night, along with various other affirmations. Like everything inside you is here to guide you is another really beautiful one that I love sending to her. So my daughter's a very awakened, evolved soul, which is really
Wow.
cool. Very
Mm-hmm.
interesting to raise a daughter that's like very super conscious. It's got its own things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's cool. I really believe that she chose me for a reason. She has
Yeah.
missions here. She also really taught me to again to step into my divine feminine, and just surrender and flow, right? Because yeah, being a mom, so it's like balancing. But it was really not even balancing. I had to surrender completely. And so being a mom really also gave me such great depth into the spirit world for sure, especially, and again, conceiving a daughter was very high energy frequency. And
Mm-hmm.
she, super gifted, very like
Yeah.
divine communication. So she really is able to, and that's one of her gifts. So she's able to really communicate, and so that's gonna be cool. I can see her being on like her having her own podcast, right? Like because she's using her voice, or
Wow.
or
Yeah.
she could write, or it's really cool to have to really work with astrology with kids, because then you're able to navigate or just to kind of help flow and navigate their lives, and you're also in more connection with them. Like so
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you can understand them more. You have like a modality. You have kind of like a language that you can use. Um, yeah. So going back to Reiki, you can infuse Reiki into physical
Mm-hmm.
items. There's like a certain Reiki symbol that I put in and intention, I put that in there. That symbol is like is used all throughout time and space and quantum, like the quantum worlds. Like so basically, yeah, like you could just put this Reiki symbol on and into the bag. And so it has that frequency and energy that you can carry on throughout your day with this product. So it's kind of like we're bringing in consciousness into actual physical products, with really, really big intention.
You're producing magical items, right?
Yes, exactly, right? Like these really cool, beautiful designs that are like,
Yes.
but it's like so much more than just the design, right? Because now you're adding real like energy to it. And so basically my intention is that so when you have this bag that has like Reiki infused, right? Like it's carrying with you that vibration. And so you're going throughout your life with this energy that you're coinciding with. So like that energy is interacting with your energy, and it's really it's just like kind of just lifting your awareness. And maybe it's and also I kind of I believe too that like each soul, because like you have to have we live in a universe of free will, right? So
Mm-hmm.
each soul has to have the permission to receive the Reiki, right? Like so that's a whole thing. So basically I guess like my understanding is that whoever is truly meant to have this bag, their soul already signed up for, knowing that that the Reiki's in there. It's like a
Yeah.
contract type thing. So like if your soul's like, nope, don't want Reiki, right? You're not going to get this back, and that's okay, right? Because
Would you say that it works in the same way as Reiki practice works? So means that you are, or let's say the bag, for example, or the item will create an energy field, let's say, in which the person who buys it can adjust their own energy to it in order to heal themselves. Does it work like that?
yes, I love that.
Okay.
100%. I love that, right? Yeah, totally.
I find it so interesting because there are also there are different and also critical opinion on all of these topics, like energy
Right.
healing,
Yeah.
on crystals, on astrology, on
Yeah.
affirmations, on everything. And I find it very interesting because I personally really understand the criticism, because I also, as you said, believe that we are healing ourselves. We are the magic. We are always the power ourselves. But what I see, and why I also value these kind of tools, is that our mind is very conceptual. So for our mind that is basically used to 3D or regular reality, it's very difficult sometimes to understand that it is powerful, because you just learn, or many people learn, that they have no power, and they are
Mm.
educated in a way that they are powerless and that they need to do certain things in order to get power. So we are getting educated away from our intrinsic power. And therefore, I think that our minds sometimes need things or people who
Mm.
remind us of our own power.
I love that.
And yeah, and I think, well, yeah, you can probably charge these things with your energy and so on. And this must work as well. Everything's energy. So yeah, that must work. But I also think that explaining to everyone, hey, you're powerful, is like, yeah, you should do it and you can do it, but not everyone will get it. And therefore, astrology, tarot cards,
Mhm.
all these
All the
things, they can
things.
be good tools for
Such good
people
tools.
to just understand that there is magic out there, even if they don't realize it within themselves yet. Probably they will,
Right.
probably just one step to
Right.
it.
Because it's everyone's journey. So everyone's journey is going to look different. Like, and we're
Yeah.
all just like rare, unique crystals, right? Like
Yeah.
every single one of us, like we are so rare and different. And it's like so, and we're sparkly. And
Yeah.
so, right. And there's no one like you at all. So
No,
yeah, like
no crystal like you.
no, still exactly right. I love it. I
Yeah.
love that. And so every journey looks different, right? And then it's even interesting for me talking about personal power. I'm feeling very called like to go beyond handbags, right? So I'm like, okay, I get it, right? In this experience, I'm a designer and I've done a lot. But
Hmm.
now I feel like my soul has been calling me to be more also about helping others step into their power. And so I'm feeling called to about like sort of like divine power coaching or something, like really incorporating
Cool.
that into
Yeah.
the umbrella in my brand, like, of just kind of like Crystal Kodada being just like this really beautiful, empowering brand that has products and also just like these like super empowering offerings that can help raise like consciousness and step into your power and change your reality and love yourself and like all the things.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You believe in the concept of that we are choosing our parents.
Yeah.
I really like this thought a lot myself, because I thought, okay, we don't know, right? So at this point in our lives, of course, we don't know with high certainty if it is like that or it isn't. But what I love, and what I also love about your journey in general, is you are willing to take responsibility for everything that you do. That's why you stopped with Adderall. That's why you started your career. That's why you're questioning your career. That's why you're questioning yourself, your self-concept, all what you're doing, and you try to be as authentic as you can be, or you are as authentic as you can be in each and every moment. So it has to do with self-responsibility. And
Yeah.
that's why I really like the idea of choosing our parents, because
Mhm.
of course we don't know if we do. But I think
Right.
like that as well,
Mhm.
because I think if I come from that perspective, and there are many
Mhm.
things that I could criticize about my parents, about my
Mhm.
upbringing, and so on, but if I come from the perspective that I chose my parents, then I think, why would I have chosen them? For what reason? Because then I can work with that reason, and it actually benefits me more than just blaming some
Exactly.
stuff on people who are not me. So it's, yeah, I think it helps me way more.
It's about that our parents like give us lessons, right? So we're
Hmm.
able to have these experiences from our parents' upbringing, and instead of it looking at it as like sort of like a victim mentality of like this is happening to me, it's
Hmm.
like obviously like shifting that perspective, like oh that this is happening for me, and they did
Yeah.
these things like because like sort of like a soul contract, you could look at it
Hmm.
that way, that you came here incarnation for to learn certain lessons so that you can evolve and grow as a soul. And so, yeah, of course, like you choose your parents and you choose like
Hmm.
what happens to you, right?
Yes.
And I think even too for my parents, it's so interesting, but I do think this is kind of from like many, many lifetimes or whatever. I think that again, this whole divine creation thing and being a designer, and I don't know, this whole idea too that at one point I was part of creating, designing
Yeah.
like actual the universe. That's a whole other thing. That was like this like Akashic record stuff. This is like going really back, right?
Also
But the whole
interesting.
thing
Yeah.
that this is how it's cool, how it plays with my parents. I think that I chose my parents specifically in this lifetime because I wanted, I know that I'm like I'm a creator, I'm a designer. Like so I almost chose them like for that, to really hone in on my craft.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like real, I mean, but obviously like the experiences that I had, like they were very hard. They weren't easy, obviously. They were really, really hard.
Yes.
But what I found interesting is that my parents never pushed me to go into the fashion industry. Like they never did, which
Mm-hmm.
is so interesting
Yeah.
because it wasn't that I picked it because they were in it. It was like it felt like a pull or something,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting.
Yes, for sure.
But I mean, there's just a lot of things that they have put on me, and I see now, I had to unshed a lot of that stuff, right? In terms of especially the whole mental health, there was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
labels that were put onto me for my mental health,
Yeah.
because it was like, oh, well, this is how your family line is, and this is, this the kind of like this identity of like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right, like you're going to be all these labels too, right? And
Yep.
that was a big one that I chose. I chose that so that I could find my power, right?
So you
I
could.
chose it, right? Because like, how would I know how powerful I am if it was sort of taken away from me, essentially, right?
Yes.
Like
Wow.
how do you truly know? So I look at it from
Mm-hmm.
that perspective, and I look at it from like then you can share gratitude and appreciation and kind of all of the movie, like, right, because it's all just a movie, and you can
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that your parents are the players in your movie,
Yeah.
right? And you're the actor, but you're also the director, but you're also the backstage crew, like, and you're actually the whole movie at the same
And the
time.
stylist, of course.
And the stylist, yes, of course, right? You
Yeah.
got to be the stylist, right? I mean, we got to put this bag in a movie somewhere, and that will happen.
Yeah.
I will happen.
Yes.
Putting that out there. I have a friend who's a celebrity photographer, and I'm just putting that. I'm just gonna put a little insert in here as like as a manifestation. And I was like,
Yes.
that when things are aligned, it'd be so cool, And if that's the path, right? Because it's like there feels like there's this precipice for me, and it's so interesting. There
Mm-hmm.
feels like a precipice for my business, right? Because like it's 10 years, that's a long time, right? And I'm just like waiting and waiting. I'm like in this like magic dark. It's like the magic dark is right before a big manifestation comes
Oh,
because
yes.
you're in the
Yeah.
dark and you're just questioning everything and you're like, is this really going to happen? I should just quit, right? Because you know how they say like people tend to quit right before it gets big. And so I'm in
Mm-hmm.
this, I'm all in, right? And I just keep feeling in my body that there's like going to be some kind of explosion, like a catapult or something. And so I'm
Yeah.
just allowing, and I'm stepping into my feminine and allowing. And then also in terms of the masculine, I'm also really loving my masculine now because we both have, right? We both have both energies, no matter like what you identify as in terms of sex, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so basically, divine feminine really too is big on manifestation of allowing and surrendering. And then the divine
Interesting.
masculine is really about getting it done. And from a human design perspective, I don't know if you follow human design, do you?
No, I just know that it exists, but I don't really follow.
That's a whole nother rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I am a project. No, sorry. I thought I was a projector. Then I changed. I realized on my birth certificate that I was a generator, and I was really triggered by that because I was like, "What, a generator?" But I don't feel like I generate enough, but I do, right? But I
Yeah,
do.
but, maybe also another concept. That's why I
Right.
stay away from it a little bit
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
think it maybe I'm all of it somehow. I don't know. Every
Yes, I
time I
love it.
read
Yes, all
something,
of it. You're all of it.
yeah, every time I would read something, I would think, "What I'm that," and
Right. I love how free you are. Like you're so free. You're such a free soul. And you're kind of like I could see that you try on things and you're like, yeah.
do it my way.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get back to my authentic self, which is just completely free. And I love that and embrace that and tap into that. That's so beautiful. Like that's so,
thank
so
you.
beautiful.
I just prefer to stay careless somehow.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I feel that whenever these things feel a little bit more that they are weighting me down for some reason, whatever it is,
Mhm.
don't need them. Don't need
Don't need
them.
it.
Yeah, and that's difficult sometimes because we are used to carry on so much, like from other people, from families,
Totally.
from just ideologies or ideas or whatever, and we think we need to be all that. And like, no, you can just kind of choose the things that represent you right now better, and maybe it's another thing tomorrow. So even if you're a generator right now, or based on
Right.
your certificate, I don't know, maybe tomorrow you are something else. And that's cool, because this is how you can change and use all of these tools or concepts or ideas for your advantage too.
I love that perspective. That's so freeing, right? Because like,
Yeah,
yeah, we can use these tools and kind of labels, right? Because they're just labels and they're just words, and actually words don't
yeah,
really mean anything. So it's like, because we're so infinite and vast.
yeah.
But like, we can try on these things that resonate with us because maybe our
Hmm.
soul resonates with it. And
Yes.
it's like, okay,
Hmm.
I could try that on. And then when it no longer serves us, maybe when it no longer like we don't need it anymore, we can just release it.
Yes, for sure.
And right. And it's just like go and flow into the next thing that's on our path.
Yes, that's a really good realization, I think, to know you don't need to stick to something forever. You don't need to carry on things forever just because you like them right now. If you don't like them tomorrow, don't do it anymore. And people, yeah, like it's so easy. And I mean, yeah, people will probably also criticize that and say, yeah, but what if you make a commitment, or if you are in a friendship relationship or whatever? Yeah, well, I'm not talking about mood swings, right? So you're also not your moods and your feelings and your temporary whatever thoughts. So if you make a commitment, it should also base probably on an alignment within you. Like, you should deeply feel that you want it. Like, you will not say tomorrow, oh, my child is loud, go away. It's not the idea, right? I'm in a bad mood today. It's
Right.
like there is a deep commitment, of course, and
Right.
it is a commitment to you and to
Yeah.
decisions that come from your soul, but external
Absolutely.
concepts are kind of take it or leave it.
I love that. That's so true. That's when you know that it's worth it. That's when you know
Yeah.
that it's something that you want, that you truly desire, when you just want to do it, right? But
Yes.
then, right, and then so then you do it and you're like, "Oh, this feels amazing. This feels aligned." And that's how
Yeah.
you like operate. But it's definitely important to have the awareness, right? The self-awareness, the mindfulness to understand when something doesn't feel good, like I don't really want to do this right now. What's telling me that I need to do this,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Like,
Good point. Where does it come from? Does it come
where's it
from my
coming from? Right.
mood, my ego, my
Right.
self-identification?
Programming.
Yes. Yeah, because probably you are lazy because your programming is telling you to self-sabotage right now. Probably
Yeah.
it's that.
Right. And your
Yeah.
programming is telling you that you're lazy. Oh, well, you're just
Yes.
lazy. Da, da, da. And so it really also comes like thought work is so important, like
Mm-hmm.
really working on your thoughts and working on the very words that come out of your mouth, because
Yeah.
those too are a vibration. So it's just like
Yes.
being so diligent. I would
Love
say
it.
discipline. I kind of love the
Mm-hmm.
word discipline and devoted. They kind of play hand in hand, the discipline and the devoted aspect
Mm-hmm.
to being the person that you want to be, and then taking those aligned, following your intuition for what you really want to do, and then leaving what you don't want to do, right? And
Yes.
then also paying attention to what you're thinking and what you're saying, because you create your own reality, right? So if you're just
Sure.
constantly like I'm lazy, then you will be
No.
lazy, right? Because
Yes.
you're
Yeah.
saying that you are. And that's a really great example. I mean, like, because yeah, that was a belief, right? I'm not enough, I'm lazy, I'm not capable,
Yeah.
right? These were all things that were just running on autopilot, right? And it's really about, so our brain has neuroplasticity, so it means that it can always rewire itself, it can always change itself. Like, we have that ability to shift, but we, obviously then have to be mindful. And again, because it's kind of like, so say like a negative thought just keeps going down the same stream
Mm-hmm.
in your brain, like the same groove, right? Like the same railroad track. It just keeps going, right? So and that neural pathway is getting stronger and stronger because you keep thinking about, I'm lazy, I'm lazy, I'm lazy. Okay, so your brain's so powerful. It's like, okay, we're gonna really make sure that you know that, and we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
keep on, right? All like just that neural pathway is firing
Yes.
right now. So understanding that, having the awareness that that's happening, and then choosing a different thought, replacing that thought.
Beautiful. Because what happens if we tell ourselves the story like we are lazy, for example, and our brain goes in that direction? We we will produce situations that will give us evidence. And,
Absolutely.
and that's
That.
so terrible, because we will be convinced by the evidence that we produce
Yeah,
ourselves for the
I know.
thought that we
That's
keep
powerful.
thinking. And this is like a circle, and you can break it by just
I
simply
love that.
telling another story.
You're right, because the universe will be like, yes, we will give you feedback for what you're
Yeah,
thinking and creating. Like, we will let you know, right? Because it's like
yeah,
so within as without. So again, yeah, like, but then it's really cool how the universe can remember back to you, right? When you change that thought, when you replace that thought with "I am capable, I am powerful," right? Just those
yes,
simple little affirmations. You change that neural pathway to another neural, right? So that neural pathway that was once like "I'm lazy, I'm lazy, I'm lazy," gets turned off. It dies, right? We want It's
yeah,
great. We want
yeah,
it to just turn off or die, like just meaning like it just shuts off. The lights turn off. And then that other pathway that we keep putting our attention and focus on of I'm powerful, I'm capable, right? And you just keep on. Then that neural pathway becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. And then that operates. And that I feel like is like the basis of like, neuroplasticity of changing how we think, and then it changes our reality.
yeah. And manifestation itself can come in the way you want it to. Yesterday, I was just listening to a video from Neil Donald Walsh, who wrote
Yeah.
Conversations with God, and
Oh,
he
love it.
says the universe or God only knows one word, and it's yes. It
Yeah.
only says yes. So whatever you say, whatever you wish for, whatever you convince yourself of, you will always receive one answer, yes. And it's very can be very positive, right? Depends on how you say things.
Yeah.
It can also be a little bit challenging if you tell
Right.
yourself the story that you don't prefer, and it says, yeah,
Right.
here you have more of like more of the things you don't
Right.
like.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's only more. There's only yes.
yeah, you're complaining, yes.
Yes.
Here it is, here's your
Right?
evidence for it. Yeah.
Totally. Oh my gosh. I love that. I've not, oh, that's so good. So good.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, what I also wanted to ask you, I've written it
Yeah.
down before I forget it, because you were talking about masculine and feminine energy,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I would like to know how or what you think about these energies, how they represent themselves in your life.
Yeah. Yes, I love it. So yes, we have a divine feminine and a divine masculine. And when I say divine, it's just like the purest form of feminine and masculine
Mm?
within us. And we both have it, right? Because, in terms of you think duality, right? It's the yin and the yang. It's like, right? So that again, masculine, feminine within. I feel like it's really important to just be aware of these energies and love them, right? And love the masculine and feminine within yourself. And I feel like we get this thing that we have to balance it, like, or kind of like, I have to always make sure, I don't know, that maybe I'm 50% in my masculine and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
50% of my feminine, right? I have
I
to
reject
balance,
it. Yeah.
right? Like reject, yeah, like release that,
Yeah.
right? And just flow into your heart and know what's right? Like in every given moment, you know what I mean? Like where do I want to bring my masculine energy in this moment, or where do I want to bring my feminine energy in this moment?
Hmm.
And just really loving and embracing both. And like I love saying that the feminine loves the masculine and the masculine loves the feminine. Yeah, and we just want to embrace them and love them, right? And I feel like we have sometimes like a predominant, right, energy. Like, so I guess I've been tapped into, I feel like I've realized that my predominant, like my kind of like my main is feminine. Like, but I've been very disconnected from my feminine for all my life. I feel like
Hmm.
I've been very, like I said, in this like masculine energy, but it was kind of like I don't love to say the word wounded, because we're not wounded. We're a whole and worthy, complete, perfect, right? But I guess I'm just using that terminology to kind of understand the out of
Yes.
alignment. And then so I was not stepping into my true power. And so it took, like I said, a spiritual awakening to connect to my feminine. And then once I connected to my feminine, my whole entire world opened up. I just felt like things just like my heart was just open and things just came to me with like just ease and flow. It really helped me tap into my creativity. The divine masculine has such beautiful gifts too. And that is super, super important. And understanding too that it's really not about sex, like the sex, you know what I mean? So if you identify as a female or a male or non-binary, like it's not to do with sex. Because you could have a male that is actually is predominantly more in their feminine energy, right?
Yeah.
Like they
Oh, I
identify
know a few of them. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
totally, right? And that is where their soul signature
Yeah.
fabric is more feminine. We just want to be able to have awareness of these energies within us and accept them and open them up with love and not try to shut them out. Like, because it's like, oh no, I can't be masculine because I'm a woman, right?
They
Or I
probably
can't
need
be.
they probably need other names. I think sometimes
Right?
maybe
You're
we need
right.
a different, yeah, different namings for it because
Well,
people really
totally.
think, oh, now I'm less of a man, I'm less of a
Right.
woman. So that's why I always try to
Yeah.
summarize what does it actually mean. Like, yeah, the feminine energy, what people describe is that, and I can feel that there is something to it. It's really it's this receptive mode.
Yes,
So when
me
you're
too.
stepping back and you are just getting
Right.
things,
You're
receiving things.
receiving. You're
Yes.
receiving. Like you're just receiving. As masculine is very giving, right? They
Yes.
provide, they're giving, and feminine is receiving. And but it's so beautiful. Each
Yeah,
soul has like, chooses like that signature, one that they sort of just gravitate toward. But it's really
definitely.
cool to have that empowerment of understanding when you are aligned with your, masculine and feminine energies and
Yeah.
also the one that's predominant within you, when you're aligned with that. How you show up in the world is very different and you're able
Hmm.
to see yourself. You're actually finally able to really see yourself and then also really deeply love yourself, like in the most profound way when you're able to see, right? Like the things, that they are your soul, right? So
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm thinking a lot about that currently because I always have this thought that there is a huge misconception about that again because I also realized that a lot of let's say in the spiritual community people will say you have to be more in your feminine energy, blah blah blah,
Mhm.
and the masculine is bad and wounded per se. And I think
Right.
like, wait, that's kind of wrong because if I was only in my receptive mode, I wouldn't get things done. I wouldn't do anything. I would just like lay in bed and I can be like that for a few days and it's good to recharge
Right.
and stuff. But if I want to get a project done or if I'm
Yes.
passionate about something, then the ideal level would be okay, I'm in this feminine energy, but the my masculine
Yeah.
energy would be okay, what's the structure of the thing?
Yes.
How can we bring it into action and how can we bring it into this world?
I
And
love that.
where would I be if I would talk to myself without having the podcast probably if I wouldn't get things done.
Oh my gosh, it's so true, right? It's like they both, these both energies, like they work off one another and we all have them.
The last major question that I have is if you have a tip for other creatives, creators, people who want to work in fashion industry,
Yeah.
how to get it done actually, and especially if you want to bring value to other people. So not probably
Mm.
doing something more than just creating beautiful things if you want to align it with some sort of calling.
Yes. Well, definitely getting in touch with your intuition and right, like getting in touch with like, okay, I'm getting a calling. Let me sit with that. And oh, I really feel this. And okay, so this is my mission, this is my path. I'm going to go for it. And understanding that it's a journey, right?
Hmm.
It's a journey. So it's a roller coaster,
Yeah, yeah,
right? So understanding that, right? Just getting like, okay, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, and I'm just going to ride it the whole way through. Don't get off the ride too
yes.
soon. Like keep going. I feel like that has always been, I think that's probably the biggest one. Keep going. It's like,
Hmm.
it's actually very simple, right? Like, I kind of love that answer.
Yeah.
Keep going. And I love that that has been always like an ongoing message from my guides, especially when I was in that dark night of the ego aspect. And I'm just like, I don't know if I have it in me. And like, yeah, like I
Mhm.
should quit. I'm nobody, blah, 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 whatever, right? That
Yeah.
message of
Yeah.
like, keep going,
Hmm.
um, is just everything. And I love it over the phrase like, don't stop.
Hmm.
There's a
Yeah.
higher vibration
Yes, for sure. Yes.
going. It's keep going. There's a movement forward.
Hmm.
So I would say the biggest and greatest advice I could say is to just keep going. If it aligns with your soul and you feel powerful about it, right? Because you feel this pull, then just keep
Hmm.
going, keep following it, and just enjoy the journey and understand that it's not about the destination. No, no, no. I mean, the destination is great, right? We all want to strive for the destination. And when we get to the destination, we're like, but it's never really about the destination. It's about the experience and it's about how we're feeling in the experience. And yeah, like, because that's what we're here for. We're here for the experience to expand and grow. And so why not? And that's why being an entrepreneur is just like amazing, right? Because you're able to really create abundance, freedom, independence within yourself, right? You're growing so much as a person, and you're able to bring in your gifts at the same time. It almost doesn't feel like work. It just feels like this like soulful dance, like, and then that's really how you create magnetism and abundance, because you're just like on your path and you have a bigger purpose. I think that's also another one too, is like you want to understand what your purpose is and understand that it really is greater than you, because you want to have a strong purpose. Because like, as I've mentioned, that the journey of creating products, manufacturing, that's a whole nother conversation, right? That's really like industry terms when we talk about actual manufacturing, which I'm really grateful for. Like, I manufacture actually in the US, like, so it's
Yay.
conscious, right? Like, I'm creating things, it's supporting local, it has a cause, it has an effect that is.
Cool. Yeah.
And so, especially from traveling overseas when I was in my previous job, like, I used to go to China and I used to go to the factories and I got to see them. And it was like, holy moly, like, wow, okay. Like, that gave me just inspiration in itself, understanding that this is not the life that I want. Like, this is not the creation. Like, I don't want my beautiful creations to come from something that isn't so ethical,
Wow.
from a personal living standard of living.
Yes, beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, so I hope those all kind of, I hope they resonate with whoever that is meant to listen to it, but definitely just keep going, ride the wave. Understand that it's an experience. It's not about the destination, even though when you get to the destination, it's pretty awesome. So you really want to also really feel all of the incredible feelings when you get there, right? Because I feel like from the human experience too, it's like we get there, we're like, okay, what's next? Keep going.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, no, 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 no. Pause and really take in your accomplishments, right? Like, you've gone so far, you've come so far, and you created this accomplishment. Like, give yourself the love and validation and see yourself for what you've done so far. So there's that. And I also want to add into, I feel like there's actually a lot coming
Yeah,
out.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And again, loving yourself.
I love that you said enjoy the way there, because I also believe if you are only working towards a destination, then you're actually suffering your way there. And
True.
that's not the idea, because the good feeling attracts the good event.
Yeah.
So the idea is to enjoy what you are doing. You must
Yeah.
enjoy your life and your path, because why would you want to go somewhere if this achievement is a very short period of time, but while you are walking there, that's a long period of time. So
Yeah.
why do you want to suffer for a long time to
Yeah.
get somewhere that's
It's so
there and then it's gone again?
It's true. It's kind of like the analogy I heard this once somewhere, that it was like, if you go to a orchestra, right? Like, you're in a concert, you're listening to this beautiful like melody play, right? This composing art play. It's like, you want to listen to the whole entire song, because that's the whole experience. You don't want to
Yeah.
like get to the concert and they they finish the song like right there, like, boop, there's the song's end. Like, you didn't feel
Yeah.
the whole entire symphony and all the different
Right.
instruments and like, this and that and the compose, like all of that, right? Like, you don't just go to a concert just to listen to like the last few seconds of a song. So it's kind of like that.
Yeah. Or like the movie, here's your happy end.
Right.
Boom.
Same
Bye.
thing.
Like, okay,
The
cool. That's
ending,
so
that's it.
boring. Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I also like that you say and love yourself there, because you need the love and compassion to keep going.
You do. Oh, that's so true. That's a very important factor.
Yeah.
You really do, right? Because like, it can be easy to get tripped up, right? If you're in
Yeah.
disappointment, right? And if you have expectations. Whew, expectations. Those are like, it's a tricky one. I feel like that's like a bittersweet one, right? Because it's kind of good to have, but then it's also like you want to surrender, right?
Yeah.
Because expectations is sort of like this area of control. You're trying to control something. But so if you release expectations, and you're more in your heart space and you're not criticizing yourself, then yeah, you're going to be more productive. You're going to create the energy that you need to get what you need into creation. Yeah.
Yay.
Yay, we want it.
Thank you.
I loved every second of this. I feel like
Me
my
too.
soul's been radiating. I feel like your energy is radiating. I feel like I could feel like it's pretty wild. I could feel it. I could almost like give you Reiki right
Oh,
now. Like, I will.
yay. Yeah, it's
Reiki,
awesome.
right? I just want to say, I just wanted to appreciate my unwavering gratitude, like appreciation for this experience that you gave me. I feel like, this opportunity has opened up so much doors for me. And that's everything, and I'm so honored. And thank you. I love this conversation. I love talking to you. What we're speaking about is so powerful and it's real, right? It's so real
Yes,
conversations and they need to be had and they are, right? And it's making an impact and it's making a change. So definitely, I'm just honored and keep going. And I love what you're doing. I absolutely love it. And I love that you're so like flowing with it. Like that is a very feminine style that you're just like, we're just going to flow and we're just going to sway. Right?
yeah,
Like, I mean,
yeah.
I really respect that. I love that. I appreciate that. And it actually, I feel like I feel so authentic and I just want to say thank you because I don't think I've never felt
Thank
this
you.
authentic ever in front of
Mm.
someone. So I'm just
Oh my
so,
God. Thank
it's the
you
first
so
of
much.
many.
Thank you so much for being so
Love it.
honest and for sharing your story and for being inspiring and for sharing your talent. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really, really grateful for this experience too.
So do you do this like so this is like your passion, right? Do you just
Yeah,
do this? Do you do other like in addition like is this your business? Like is insanity like your business or is it like
not yet, but let's manifest it.
yes, let's
Um,
manifest it. Let's put it out there. It is, right? It
It
is.
is. It is becoming. Yes, because I am a copywriter in advertising, and
Nice.
I'm about to quit this job right now.
Oh
So
my gosh, you're taking that quantum leap. Yeah, you're telling the universe I'm ready. Like
I'm
amazing.
ready. I'm ready. At least I'm ready to not be part of a company anymore. So I'm
Right.
thinking about freelancing,
Yeah.
yeah, to
Yeah.
pay my bills. And I still enjoy it. I just don't enjoy this big, massive constructs and working
Yeah.
for somebody. So
Totally.
I was super inspired by your words the whole time because this is what I want to do. Like I
Oh,
want to be my own
it's
boss.
exactly. And you needed to hear that, right?
Yes,
Like your soul chose to hear those words. I guess like I feel like I was channeling what your soul like needed to hear, right?
yes.
Like
I definitely needed to hear
and
that.
my
Also,
and my
this
soul
keep
needed to
going.
hear it too.
Yeah, beautiful. It's very, very inspiring actually, and it gives me some confidence.
What is your vision? Like what do you see? Like what do you want to create like the future for insanity?
I want insanity to be like this big mental institution where we brainwash people into believing in themselves.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
I love it. Yes, yes, yes. I feel that. Oh my God, that
Yay.
was the best. That was the best. I loved that so much.
I'm already playing with those terms of brainwashing. I have them
Yeah,
also on my Insta a little bit.
I love it.
I'm
I
saying,
love it. I feel like it's changing the stigma, right? Because it's like there's like the stigma around it. It's like, no, 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 no. We're changing the paradigms here. We are completely like just
yeah,
the collapse, right? Again, we're just like towering. We're just towering and
yes,
collapsing all the different, belief systems and creating our own beautiful magnetic, yeah, like
narrative.
system. Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And we add some humor because I believe that
Yes.
also when I'm in a dark place or when I'm in a bad mood, and sometimes just something silly comes to my mind and I just do or say it, and suddenly things are not that heavy anymore. So I believe humor to be a very
That's so, oh
essential part of everything, of life in general.
my God,
And
laughter. Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
laughter
just
and
laugh it
humor.
away sometimes. Yeah.
Oh, it's so beautiful. And you know what? And I feel like that's a creation itself is turning something, right? That you want to bring a message out, right? But you're
Mhm.
like, I want to bring this message out, but I want it to be funny, right? Like I
Yeah,
want
yeah, yeah.
that's silly and it's funny. And I feel like just that in itself is a cool like way to use your creativity.
Hmm. Yeah.
Right. That inspires me too. I love that. I'm like, ooh, yeah, I have like all these empowering things I want to say, but like, how can we say them and then kind of get like a laugh, right? Because laughing is such like it's just like very healing, super.
Yes, yes, it is. It is. It's beautiful, and you can share it with others, and suddenly the things they just don't have a heavy weight anymore, just
Yeah,
because you once laughed about it. That sometimes that's all you need.
that's all you need. Sometimes like
Yeah,
laughter literally it just releases things that no longer need. Like even
yeah,
though like, don't get me wrong, so I love crying, right? I love a good soul shower.
yeah.
As
Hmm.
I've said right before, like I experienced a lot of tears, but now I feel like it's so wild. So I feel like I'm in this place
Hmm.
now that I'm actually having so much more laughter and using
Yeah.
laughter as a therapy, like using laughter as a way for healing.
Yes, yes, it works. Yeah.
Right. It's so wild, like, and just laughing. So even if like, you're stressed, you're sad, and you're just like, I don't know, all of a sudden I'll just like, I'm just gonna laugh it out.
Sometimes just look at it from a higher perspective, or you
Yeah,
just you just see the paradox in the situation somehow.
Yeah.
And
Right. You're like, this is
yeah,
funny. Like, 'cause again, it's like not taking ourselves so seriously
seriously,
and
yes,
understanding this is all
yes.
just one big cosmic joke anyway.
Do you actually have Discord, or do you use it?
Don't have to use it in your business.
I have different chat rooms there where you can have conversations with people about different topics. It can be art, music, random stuff, also dreams or whatever you want to talk about. These are the groups where you can write with people.
Very cool.
All people who are connected to Insanity somehow means that they enjoy the podcast, or they were guests, or both, or just people who like philosophical talks and they kind of discovered it somehow. So they just like to talk about
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yes.
You also have voice rooms, with or without cams, so you can also jump into calls with people if you like.
That's
If you like,
amazing.
if you like someone, or you just want to talk to me, for example, and doesn't need to be a podcast episode all the
Love
time.
it.
So just
Right.
let's have a call. We
I
can do
love
it on
it.
the server.
I love that. And it's all about
Yeah.
like, I feel like it's that sense of community and
Yes.
connection.
Yes.
Very,
Yeah.
yeah, very divine, like very feminine, divine feminine. Right. This is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, and that's
I'm
my
bringing
my community idea. So that just to have everyone there who's up to
together.
it, is enjoying it. So I can just send you the link, and if you
Yes, I
like,
would love that.
just join. I would love it. Yeah.
I would love that. That's amazing. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy your day and
Thank
see
you.
you soon.
All right. See you soon. Yeah.
Bye.